Hi, hello. Welcome to an episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is November the 16th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today has been treating me well. I will say it's been cloudy. It's been kind of cool, like cold in the 50s. But solid. It's been a good day so far. We did some overtime at work. Overall, that was solid. That was good. That's going to lead us to our food corner. I had some donuts. I had a cinnamon sugar bow tie or twist, whatever it's called these days. I don't know. And then I got a blueberry glazed donut. Both were very good. Phenomenal. And then also on the way out, there was a leftover pink iced bran donut. And I was like, ooh, so there's no glaze on this? Okay, fine. That's cool. Snagged that one up, and it was yummy as well. Also, last Saturday, I forgot to mention that I got a pink iced glazed donut on the way out as well. So that's 2 for 2. We love to see it. That's 3 donuts, 2 times. So yeah, clap it up for that. Yay. But yeah, gym went well. Let's see. Really, yeah, is there anything to really report out of the gym? No. Weight wise though, we're good. I hit a new personal low, 233. Granted, I'm sure I'm going to, eat some food and plump back up. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm excited. Whenever I make a new, mark, I go a little bit lower, I get a little bit stronger or whatever. It always feels good to kind of hit those milestones, whatever they are, whether they're big or they are small. So I'm happy to celebrate that. But yeah, we can stop yapping about myself, my personal life. I think we're good. We're solid there. Let's go ahead and do our startup and get into some news. Okay. All right. Starting off, I'm not really gonna dig too deep into this, but I did mention the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight last night. Um, what is it? Uncrowned apparently did a review on it or whatever. I really don't even really like want to read too hard into it, just kind of lightly sourcing it. But like I said last night, I wasn't planning on watching it. I literally unsubscribed middle of the week because I was like, man, why have I been paying for Netflix for so long? Like I like as much as Arcane is out and like yeah, Umbrella Academy and like Stranger Things is gonna be coming out. I don't care. Like I just don't think I care. Maybe I will get back into it, but I'm cool for right now. But the fight went down last night, and apparently it was ass. It was pretty much about what everyone expected it to be, unfortunately. Though I'm glad that no one actually got killed or hurt. You know what I mean? I think in the back of my mind, I really started being like, oh my god, like Mike Tyson might actually get his ass knocked the fuck out, or like worse. You know what I mean? Especially if you're thinking about the last time he boxed. If you're anyway familiar with that, it was sad. It was a bummer. And to be honest, this was sad too. Like one, the quality of the stream or like the live show was just completely ass, which is part of the course for Netflix. Anytime they do a live thing that's major and big, it just flops because so many people actually get on and Netflix is just not prepared to handle it every fucking time. I heard stories of literally people having a better time streaming it from their Twitch or not their Twitch, their X account because they were there live, and it was literally better view or a better view than let's say actually on Netflix, the app. So a lot of crashes, a lot of lagging. At one point, they were in the locker room with Mike Tyson. You see his whole ass. That was a thing. That was a moment. But yeah, I mean, they go 8 rounds. I think maybe about 3 of those rounds, Mike Tyson actually throws punches, and then he just kind of goes full Joe Biden. And like, look, dude, I don't want to like talk shit about Mike. That's not like the transition from Iron Mike to Iron Cheeks is not something I'm happy to bring y'all, but it's something that happened, and it sucks because it's like for Jake Paul, it's a win because he winds up winning the fight. You know, he does his thing, and I guess I don't want to say give him credit, but like you can tell that Jake could have done it. Like he had the ability if he wanted to like full tilt go for it, he could probably have knocked Mike out. But like even at the end he like does this weird like bowing shit, which just makes it all feel like a fucking spectacle for spectacle's sake. Like what was this all about, dude? Just for everyone to collect a paycheck or whatever? And like you literally have Jake Paul talking shit like, "Yeah, I just beat the best boxer in the world." Like, bro, like it's a fucking, I believe 57-year-old. Like what are we talking about here? Like no, dude, you didn't fight any guy anywhere close to his prime, dude. It was a bizarre affair. There was also two women that fought. I do not remember their names, but that was apparently like the better fight, which apparently though wasn't really scored that well or what have you. But yeah, I mean, overall, I don't know. It seems par for the course for Netflix. And I know some people are like, man, people paid money for this. And I'm like, but yeah, a pay-per-view is like $80 or so these days. So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like you kind of get what you pay for in that regard. But at the same time, I'm a person who really is not watching Netflix anymore. So I don't know, man. I'm not surprised by this. It's a bummer. But, it was definitely caught my attention when I first saw it. Like, what was it, last year or so? But yeah, as we got closer to it, I was like, oh, this feels so weird. This feels so unsettling. But yeah, let me see here. Yeah, it was Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. So yeah, apparently that was like a better fight. But once again, it just wasn't scored well, at least in terms of people I've talked to from what I've heard. But yeah, we can go ahead and move along now. That was just a bit of side news I figured I'd be remiss to not talk about. Granted, do I ever really talk about sports? I didn't talk about the Dodgers winning at all. I mean, good for them. But, Shohei Ohtani, he did it. Wow, crazy. Good thing he didn't get busted for gambling. That would have fucking sucked. Anyway, CNN. Explosives and timer found on suspect's body after attack on Brazil's top court. A man killed himself while detonating explosives after trying to enter Brazil's Supreme Court in Brasilia on Wednesday. An attempted attack that appeared to be politically motivated and came as the country's top tribunal finds itself under pressure over disinformation and extremism cases. The suspected attacker, Francisco Vanderlei Luis, was affiliated with former President Jair Bolsonaro's right-wing liberal party. Once again, I love when these fucking like highly to the right parties like inject words like liberal or democratic to whatever the fuck they can to try to seem more even keeled and balanced, or like maybe they're the other guy when really they're a bunch of fucking fanatics. Having unsuccessfully run in local elections in 2020, CNN affiliate CNN Brazil reported on Thursday, quoting federal police. Police found messages on Luis's social media criticizing and threatening state authorities. Now I want to actually segue down to what happened. But his initial target was, I believe, the Supreme Court. I think he had like a specific grudge with, gosh, I don't have his name at the ready, but we've talked about him before. What was it? Alexandre de Moraes. Apparently he had like a big vendetta for this guy. And yeah, we talked about him in terms of him and his beef with Elon Musk. And that was a whole fucking thing. But the first car bomb exploded near the Congress building at 7:30 p.m., 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Federal District Vice Governor Selena Liao told reporters late Wednesday. The suspect then tried to enter the Supreme Court building, but was unable to, and a second explosion happened right outside the front doors. There were no other victims of the attack. The court and Congress, both still in session, were evacuated. Staff and legislators were shepherded out to safety as police carried out an hours-long sweep of the Three Powers Plaza. So let's actually continue. The damaged car found at the scene was registered to Luis. The federal police's anti-terrorism unit is investigating the explosions as a suicide attack. So yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, what was it? Last year we had January 8th, where I believe they stormed Congress or, a political building. It's escaping me at the moment, but there was that in Brazil, and then we had this year. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they're keeping it popping. They're mad. They're malding. That happens, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that a bit. I feel like we can go ahead and leave it there. Let's go ahead and move on to our next story from CNN as well. Hundreds of illegal miners holed up in disused shaft in South Africa. Here's what we know. Several hundred people are believed to remain in an illegal mine in South Africa after the government cut off vital supplies and refused to help them, in a dramatic bid to crack down on the industry. Food and water supplies to those underground have been halted by police seeking to force the illegal miners to come to the surface, raising concerns about their well-being. The South African Human Rights Commission, or the SAHRC, is investigating the police for restricting the miners' essential supplies, such as food, water, and medication, which may have resulted in the loss of lives, in a statement on Friday. I know at least one decomposed body has been recovered from the mine. But illegal miners can travel up to 4 kilometers underground and spend months below ground in old mines, according to a report by South Africa's Minerals Commission. But without supplies, conditions are believed to be deteriorating underground. So, from what I've gathered, listening to a bit of BBC coverage, these miners, they go down underground, and these disused mine shafts were initially privately owned, and they were shut down by the government because they weren't sustained. They weren't being maintained well, things of that nature. So they say, okay, instead of paying for that, instead of doing that, we're just not going to fuck with them. All right, we're out of them. And so people who need money, because in South Africa, the economy is very poor, it's very bad. Or at least, for a lot of people it is, for sure. I mean, granted, it's tough all over, but with really not much recourse, and you have, this background, this is your core of being a miner, then you're like, okay, well, we'll go down there. We will, be down here for months. I mean, you're definitely taking a lot of risks. Like I said, I mean, I think these are pretty, maybe not the greatest maintained mines, and not to mention there's no company supervision or protection that you have here. It's just you and maybe your mates or something going down in these mines. But you're going and you're getting gold deposits, you're getting whatever minerals and stuff you can get, you're amassing deposits and more or less having a bunch of loot, and you take it out and then you put it into the black market in South Africa. And that's how you're making your money. That's how you're making your bones. And there's an economy around this because there will be women, I think it's mostly women merchants, but it might also be men as well. But merchants will go down and they will sell food, supplies to the miners, and it creates this whole ecosystem. And essentially the police are saying, hey, we see what the fuck is going on here. We're not okay with it. You guys got to fucking stop. And so they are trying to do this by saying, hey, we are going to, I think they're doing raids into the mines and trying to get people, but they are also just choking off access. They are not providing any kind of aid of any kind. And essentially, you're shafting these miners in a way because they're forced to come out and immediately surrender, give up all their loot, or not take it out with them, and, probably have to face criminal charges. So it's a weird situation. A lot of times we cover people stuck in mines, and it's the government or the state trying to get people out, whereas we're trying to get people out in this situation, but it's very different. It's a very different circumstance. I know that there are some numbers that are saying that up to 4,000 miners could be underground. Police are saying that they think at least 1,187 miners have emerged since they've had this crackdown. So yeah, I mean, things are definitely tense right now. It's definitely, a fucking situation. Personally, I feel like this is the wrong approach from the government. You have a situation here where privatized, mining has failed. So it's like, okay, why don't you guys fucking fill the void instead of saying, nah, we're just going to let this be a derelict thing and then crack down on people who have no recourse and there's clearly resources in here for them. And you're like, nah, that's not okay. So we got to now, we got to get you, we got to bust you up. And doing it this way seems very inhumane. It doesn't seem right to me at all. When you could have a situation of saying, hey, we can provide at least limited food and resources, but you guys know you have to come out. Like, there are ways of doing this that are way more diplomatic and not draconian, and I think they are choosing to be draconian. So I don't think that's right. I don't think that's okay. So fuck that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely want to keep you guys posted on, the situation as it progresses. But yeah, a little bit of a mining story for you out of South Africa. But yeah, we're gonna segue now to Trump. A bit of a Trump update. Trump date. That sounded weird, but I might do it again. Let's see. From USA Today, man charged with driving stolen car to talk to Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Sorry, I read that wrong. A Florida man was arrested late Thursday night after Palm Beach police said he pulled up to a Mar-a-Lago and asked to speak with President-elect Donald Trump while driving a stolen car. What a combination. It marks at least the third person to be arrested at Mar-a-Lago since the summer and comes as Trump's club is filled with dignitaries and celebrities helping to guide the president-elect during his transition into a second term in the White House. The 52-year-old Sarasota man faces charges of vehicle theft and operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. Jail records show he was being held at the Palm Beach County Jail on Friday morning on a $5,250 bond before his scheduled first appearance before a judge, according to jail records. His bond could be adjusted at that time. According to a Palm Beach police report, the man drove a Hyundai Kona, a small SUV, into a parking lot near Trump's Mar-a-Lago club at about 9:15 p.m. Thursday and asked to speak with the president-elect. A Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office detective and U.S. Secret Service agent pulled the man aside while waiting for police, the report said. While the Palm Beach police officer who arrived on the scene checked the man's driver's license, he found that it had been suspended indefinitely, the report said. But hey, at least he had it on him. He was letting you know, it's who I am. I got it on me. I know I can prove to you I can drive. I'm just not supposed to be driving, officer. But please, let me see Donald. Please, let me see Mr. 47. That's crazy. Upon checking the license plate number on the SUV, the man drove the officer... the SUV the man drove, the officer found that it did not belong to him. So apparently the SUV was, it belonged to a rental company. The woman who is acquaintances with the man said, hey, do you want to come with me to get a new car? I'm renting a car right now. And I guess he's like, all right, cool. And she goes to the bank to get some money. And while she's in the bank, he takes the car and says, actually, it's time for me to meet Donald. It's time for me to meet the president-elect. So just leaves her at the bank. And she's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll go home and I'll see him later. And he just never comes back because obviously he got arrested. So, I mean, that's a hell of a fucking day. And you hate to see it, when your friend or whatever, just bails on you with your rental car and puts you in a lurch because he just has to see Donald Trump today. It has to happen right here, right now. He's got to shake that man's hand. Apparently, though, this isn't the first time this has happened, like they had said earlier. Just quick reference here. On July 31st, a Chinese citizen who lives in California was arrested after police said he repeatedly tried to get into Mar-a-Lago to talk to Trump. And then they go through like another example as well. So, I mean, apparently a lot of people are just, man, they are quaking with anticipation to see, the new God Emperor. So, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be catching heat for that. But, I mean, you got a Florida man trying to do it. You got a California man trying to. I mean, the allure of this man is just too irresistible. He's got like a gravitational orbit or something. I don't know. At least not for me. Anyway, let me take my last break, and we'll go ahead and close it out with a little bit of cabinet news from, once again, our new president. It's a familiar name. You know him. We don't love him, but not the worst guy on the bunch, that's for sure. Whew. Ooh. All right. All right, Arun. Macaroons from Politico. uh, yeah. Hill Republicans rejoice over Burgum pick for interior. So, President-elect Donald Trump has tapped North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum for Interior Secretary. He announced at a gala at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida Thursday night. Also, I guess it's worth noting too, while we're on the subject of Mar-a-Lago, I've said that a couple times this episode. And this is something I guess didn't click for me last time when he was president in 2016, but I guess I didn't really give a fuck. I wasn't really following the politics that heavy at that point. I was just bummed that, he won. But apparently, like Donald Trump, he turns Mar-a-Lago into a baby like satellite like White House. And apparently he really likes to go and like hunker down there for the winter. He does more action out of there in the wintertime because he doesn't like to be in DC during the winter. And I mean, I guess in that regard, I couldn't blame him. You're the fucking president. And I mean, to some extent, I think I've heard people mention offhand that like that's part of the reason why he had so many documents. They were like coming out of his fucking shower and shit because he just turned this whole place into more or less the Oval Office, into the White House. But anyway, Doug Burgum is essentially going to be energy czar. Once again, is he a good guy? No, I don't like him. I don't dig him. He's a billionaire, or at least not. He might not be a billionaire. I might be wrong there. He's a millionaire. He's a guy who got a lot of fucking money. More or less clout money served his way into this fucking position. But I mean, I don't hate him as much as fucking RFK Jr. At least not yet. At least with the knowledge I have at hand. So here we are. So yeah, I just wanted to add that, and that is where I will leave it for today. Let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Hit the like button. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.